A person ignorant of cars by going to any forum and reading the comments of specialists on the 210 body issue can learn a lot for himself. In short, there is no worse car. Rotting, rusting, crumbling, breaking and generally a shame for the company, and it's not a Mercedes, but a real Mercedes ended at 124. If you don't know what it's about, you might think that these are not reviews of the E-Class, but notes of Renault owners who have lost faith in humanity. I would like to insert my word and, for greater clarity, compare it with 124 and at the same time recall the influence of 210 on the entire history of Mercedes in recent years. Design. It is clear that everyone fell on their ass and just got lost when they saw him. No one believed to the last that these bulging eyes would go into the series. So what? There was no other E-Class offered, but what was it necessary to drive? It's now because of the design that people can move away from Mercedes to any Japanese shit, but then it was different. All the normal guys saw this, looked into his very big eyes for some reason, swore a little, spat at his feet and bought 124 for 210 Avantgarde to replace themselves. At least no one has heard that a person who had a Mercedes before would buy an Audi because of the design. On 210, for the first time, a brilliant trick of marketers was tested, which later became a mass phenomenon. Before that, all Mercedes looked, plus or minus, equally expensive. 124 200e in basic form and 320e on a full charge looked the same from the outside. It was decided to end it. Now there is a classic, elegance and avant-garde. The classic against the background of avant-garde looked as if it was a beggar in spirit and purse who decided to buy a Mercedes with the last money. Elegance, especially on the 211 body, they sported nauseating salons with some simply terrible trees and fabrics in it. Plus the eternally incomprehensible will design. Everything was conceived with one goal for the people to bring in money and take the only human version of the avant-garde. It was worth the money and it was worth it. Chrome line, incomparable purple xenon without lenses, blue windows, a chic polished shelf on 16 discs and grey wood in the cabin. There is no reason not to take this particular finishing option. First, about the sad. After 124, there were enough reasons for sadness. The incomparable thoroughbred clap of closing the doors was replaced by the usual rattling. The door cards, the ceiling and the torpedo began to look and feel cheap and primitive. Now about the good. A fool is not a fool, but 210 showed that even on such a sacred sun as 124 there could also be spots. The salon has become more spacious. Especially for the rear passengers. And this is very noticeable. Finally, Mercedes got a human Climo automatic. This was so lacking in 124. There was no section on the sides, plus it constantly made noise even at a minimum and fried the legs. Klima in 210 is to this day the best and most convenient climate control system for me. By the way, the seating and landing has become almost even more convenient than in 124, although it is much more convenient, 124 seats have always been reference. I agree, reinforced concrete softness and rigidity with the impenetrability of suspension 124 is not so pronounced here. But in any case, this is a 100% Mercedes, it goes down, it doesn't wobble anywhere and after 124 it rolls better. And in general, there is no point in talking about 210 competitors in those years. It's not for you to compare the Mercedes that has sunk to the bottom and degraded almost to zero with other buckets and choose from which evils which is the lesser. Yes, in those years, the quality, especially against the background of 124, at Mercedes fell. The quality of components and possible assembly has fallen. But even then, it's against the background of the best cars. The quality has decreased, but not the prestige. And nothing has changed with the portrait of the buyer. As all normal guys drove a Mercedes and BMW, they continued to drive. The Audi was looming around the corner. Mainly for those who could not drive and were afraid of rear-wheel drive. Even funnier was the mention in those years of the GS 300 Lexus. Well, it's worth remembering about rusting. I agree. If you can hardly meet 124 on the road now, then 210 still come across. All leaky and disheveled. Yes, the 210 body is not ice in this regard. But is it that bad? It's just that 210 is more demanding of the owner and needs more attention than 124. Maybe 210 has such a protective reaction. When he falls into the hands of the riders, he automatically turns on the self-destruction program and wants to die faster than to live such a dog's life. In general, I do not share all this poison and tantrums in the direction of 210. A normal car, even in terms of driving, even in terms of reliability. A live car can drive for a long time and not really drink blood and eat money. And the fact that the eyes are bulging. You get used to it over the years. For the first 20 years, his muzzle was slightly strained. At the age of 21, you already perceive it differently. Good luck to everyone.